Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Hallmark tennis movies.
I'm Brian, and I like Hallmark tennis movies.
I'm Dan, and tennis is my jam. And I despise Hallmark tennis movies, and this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
It could be my Bramble jam.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Oh boy! New intro, who dis? New intro, who dis? Hi, everybody.
It feels right.
This is, it's hard. It's like the last week of August heading into the first week of September.
Right. Yeah.
It feels right. New intro, who dis? I think Rig and Trace sang on that track.
They did.
Is that correct?
It sounded like they got a full bar in there.
Yes, we did. It was a big...
We sounded wonderful.
There were several outtakes.
Yes.
I demanded my levels go up
Yes.
on a number of occasions.
Yeah.
I could not hear the snare in my monitor. And there were a few other gaffes by the producer.
I got one of our where we kind of said the wrong thing.
That's right,
Yeah,
that's right.
Here, cue that clip.
That's right. Mambo
Frankie
number
Muniz loves
5.
me hardly.
It's not Mambo. We're not doing the Lou
It's
Bega.
not Frankie Muniz love me
Why
hardly.
isn't Lou Bega the... We talked about this.
Yeah.
Glad we did that.
Yeah. New intro,
Somehow
though.
they got through it, though.
I love that Rig Dilby thinks that, like, all the stuff that Eminem says at the beginning of Clean Out My Closet would be a funny bit for this show. That's real topical.
Yeah, I'd say so. But it does. It's I like to know. I like people to know what they're getting into, like at the start.
Yeah, if you hear that and think it's going to be just a normal standard podcast, I think that it's
My
on you. It's on you at that
my
point.
fear is that they've heard the intro for the last 4 years and they've said, "This seems like it's going to be normal." And now it is.
Yeah. No, not a problem. Not a problem.
Not a problem
no.
here. Not a problem here.
Not at all.
Brian,
No.
how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right.
You had to go all the way up to Massachusetts to clean out your closet. Is that what I'm
That's
understanding?
right. That's right. Cleaned out the closet, hopped in the big rig, and cruised on down.
Did the truck
the
make
big
it?
rig. Were you in an 18-wheeler?
I might as well have been. I felt
What
like
was
it
your
out there on
CB call sign?
What would your CB call sign be?
Boy, it would be. Let me see here. What's out there on the Rumble Strip? 3021.
Rumble Strip.
How'd you land on?
You trailed off there. Was that a niner?
How did you land on Rumble Strip?
3021?
Rumble Strip, because I spent a lot of time on the Rumble Strip, unfortunately, during this trip.
Okay.
I've never heard it called the Rumble
I've
Strip.
never either called. I don't know what it's
What do we
called.
call it?
It's called the Bumpies. The Bumpies.
It's called the Whoops.
Whoa!
Whoops! Whoa!
Dan, you're getting close to the Bumpies.
The Rumble Strip.
The Rumble
Yeah.
Strip.
So that's what they call me. What they call me. They go, hey, over Rumble Strip.
Rumble
get out of the way.
Strip. Rumble Strip 3021.
Rumble Strip.
Niner.
Rumble Strip
Yeah.
390.
029er?
Yeah, 39029er. Yeah. What would yours be, Bran?
Mine would
The
be Cat in the Hat 17.
With Cat in the Hat with a question mark
Yeah.
at the end?
Just Cat in the Hat 17.
Yeah.
Dan?
I've always wanted to be called the Big Show.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
a good.
I just feel like the Big Show. Let's
You
go
don't think
Big
there's
Show.
any other drivers out there that's called the Big Show?
Yeah. I got to say Cat in the Hat with a question mark. You can call me the Big Show.
Yeah, that's
Thank
right.
you very much.
Okay, that's fair. But I just don't want it to be confusing with all
Neither
the
of them
other
are
big
Rumble
shows.
Strip. Rumble Strip 39209.
How have neither of us ever heard Rumble Strip?
Never.
That's amazing.
I thought
Is
I was
that
like, what is he talking?
Is that a Northeast thing? Do you learn
When
about that
you
when you're
said
in line
Rumble-
for the Dunkin' Donuts or what?
At the Donkeys?
At the-
I think it's a big rig driver thing, is what it is.
Rumble
It's
Strip.
just- I don't know. You're
Yeah,
in the little
'cause he's
leagues,
a
I
big rig
guess.
guy.
That's right.
You did
Not to be confused with rig, the actual big.
No.
rig.
No.
Yeah.
Big guy.
No, I don't need it.
No, right.
They just call me me.
Yeah, that's right. It's good. It's good. Brian, but you drove down in a truck, and when I was talking to you last week, you talked about how you were a little bit concerned
I
about
was.
making it home. But you did make it home. The truck made it.
I made it. I was psyched for the ride. I love a long ride.
Sure, you
And
love a road trip.
You love
Yeah.
a road trip.
But
that was
the whole-
actually the one thing that was a requirement of getting in Panda's chair was, do
right.
you like road trips?
Like road trips. Do.
Okay.
I do. But I was
And you
so-
like Royal movies?
Yeah, Royal's great.
Great.
Neil Bledsoe's leading them. Forget it. Top notch. But I was afraid, though. I didn't enjoy the ride as much as I thought I would because I was so paranoid my big rig would break down But
you keep calling it a big
It's not a
rig.
big- I can't.
It's just a
there's
pickup
trucks in the
truck.
parking lot right now,
It's
Brian.
just a pickup truck,
It's
right?
not.
This
It's
is
a
big bad.
It's a compact pickup truck.
Is Dan's truck bigger than your truck?
Yes.
Joe,
Why? This isn't a competition. I don't care. It's a compact pickup.
Brand, how big is your pickup truck?
Oh, you don't even have one.
a
You
second.
don't even have one.
Well, at least I'm not over there on the rumble strip.
I mean, the fact that you're calling it a big rig does undermine a lot of your argument.
Well, agree to disagree, I guess. I mean, that thing's got a bed and a cab, and I call it a big rig. So
Fair enough.
It rides
Those
on the
are all.
rumble
strip.
Those
Check,
are all the
check, and check.
requirements. That is
Yes.
accurate.
we'll come back to this.
Y'all, are you ready to dive into Game Set Love?
I'm
the
good. That's Rumble
final,
Strip over here.
the final Fall into Love movie of August.
Oh, we're done with the August.
but don't
movies.
work, everybody.
Got
Don't
it.
worry, everybody. Is what I'm trying to say. Or don't
Tennis,
work.
man. I'm so excited about some tennis, Brian.
If you were worried about Fall into Love being over, don't worry. Stay tuned.
getting
Friday. We're getting started, either one. Friday, September Fall into Love preview shows coming up. So this is going to be your first preview show, Brian. There's a lot of responsibility there. You have to get familiar with the creams. It's a whole thing. So
Yeah.
I know that you are familiar
there's
with
a creams initiation.
There's
We'll
a
talk about
creams
it later.
initiation. Saw them live.
Creams initiation was real good live.
So good.
Dude,
so
I'm
good.
serious. I thought when they got rid of Jake Flores, their the Keytar guy, that it was they were
Yeah,
gonna
I
go
know
down
Jake.
here. But they
their
but
signature
just
sound.
unbelievable.
Did you hear about Jake?
Dude, what happened?
So he actually he skipped the show down in New Orleans.
In
In
Nolans?
Nolans. He skipped the Nolans gig. He said, I don't need this.
I do think you can
I've-
say New Orleans, and I do think you can say Nolans. I don't think you can say New Orleans. I think that is the line.
Trying it out.
Agree to disagree.
That's the line.
So anyway,
That's the rumble
Friday,
strip.
come on in. You'll be able to listen in on Brian's cream initiation with the rest of us.
Looking forward to that.
Look forward to that.
Yeah.
The question that I think we get asked the most is what about the
What
creams?
about the creams?
And find out Friday, I guess.
If you know, you know.
If you are ever going to know the answer to what about the creams, Friday would be the day for the Fall into Love September edition. Game Set Love originally aired on August 27th, 2022, and it went a little something like this. The movie kicks off with a little girl watching tennis with her mom. We see classic Venus Williams tennis action. We're all absolutely loving it. What?
Yes, that is a version of describing what happened.
We, flash forward and we
Like watching a man walk on the moon and be like, classic Neil Armstrong astronaut action.
Yeah.
That's what
Listen,
you just did.
I don't make
That's
fun
what
of
you just
Brian
did.
for saying rumble strip.
Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
you did.
That's all you
Well,
did.
agree to disagree. I pointed it out. And this is also sacred.
I drive a little moped, little liquor slicker, if you know what I mean. Like it gets me from A to B, 20 miles an hour. I call it my hog.
As you should.
It's a Harley Light,
Yup.
6 of 1, half dozen. You know what I mean.
What does that have to do with this?
I just thought you'd like to know.
Thank you, Rick.
I just drove here on my hog. I thought you'd like to know.
Great.
What do you have to do with anything? Nothing.
But this is my sacred time. Shove off.
You shove off. You don't have a hog. You wish you had a hog.
I do have a scooter that I scoot on.
Yeah, that's not a hog.
Yeah, and yours is?
Yeah, it is. You should hear that tiger growl.
Like a panther.
Rawr.
We see some classic Venus Williams tennis action, and we're absolutely loving it. Flash
That would
forward.
be like if you said.
Flash forward, and we see Taylor as an adult, and she's working at her family's tennis club teaching tennis lessons. She's watching TV, and she sees tennis star William Campbell throwing an absolute tantrum. Classic Will. Later that day, she shows up to a bar to meet her friend and for dinner, and she calls and she's like, so actually I need you to meet with William Campbell, and good news, he's there. She sits down, she talks to William. William is going to be playing doubles now It's an either-or situation in this particular league. And he says, my coach just quit. I hear that you coach. And Taylor's like, I teach children, so this might work out well. So she agrees to help coach her friend Ashley and Williams to become a dynamic duo of epic proportions. And they have no idea, he has no idea how to play with somebody else. He's been an individual player his whole life. And so this is going to be an uphill battle. He claims that he's ready to put in the work, but then misses the next practice for a photo shoot. She gives him a talking to. They end up getting to work, working on that serve and whatnot. But then he sticks around after the fact to help teach kids to play tennis. And that really catches Taylor's eye, because why wouldn't it? The next day, Taylor takes the duo hiking, which is a great way to become more familiar with each other, and also a great way to hurt your ankle. That's exactly what happens to her knee, I believe, is what Ashley hurt. Ashley hurt her knee. Is that correct?
That's right.
It's a knee situation. So, bad news. The duo is dead. And so Will comes up with a good idea. I'm going to ask Taylor, the coach, to be my new partner, because she actually is really good at tennis. Now, part of her story is that she was in the tennis scene, and then her mom got sick, so she went home to help her dad with the mom and never played professional competitive tennis again. And so he's like, why don't you be my partner? And so she's like, okay, let's give it a shot. So they start working together. It's not awful, but they decide that it makes the most sense in the world to get away for a weekend at a cabin by themselves, talk about life, talk about loss, talk about tennis, the standard things that you do when you're becoming tennis partners. They really grow closer during that time. It's time for the first match, and surprise, they win.
Hey.
And then they win again. And he's like, I'm thinking that we should be permanent partners. I can move to Atlanta. I can make this work. They go to eat. They slow dance. They kiss. Hey-o. They go back to the hotel. Not like that. He sees his parents. He's like, WTF. She's like, I invited them because you haven't talked to them and they haven't watched you play in a long time. Thought it would be right what you would want. And he's like, you don't know what I want. Also, you're not me and I'm not you. I don't have these problems with where I want to like be with my parents all the time. I don't want to be with my parents all the time. You want to be with your dad all the time. And she's like, well, this feels like a lot that's being thrown at me, so I'm going to leave now. She goes to talk to her dad and he's like, you do want to be with me all the time. And she's like, fair. I think it's now time for me to maybe do my own thing. Spread my wings, see where I can.
Spread your worms all over the dirt.
Spread my wings, see where I can fly to. Exactly. And so that goes well. He then talks to his parents. It turns out the reason why they never went to any of his matches is because his dad was busy working 2 jobs to play for rackets and whatnot.
To play for rackets?
To pay for rackets.
Gambling for rackets?
No, well, that's
Gambling
the best I
racket.
can figure.
Go spread your worms.
So anyways, basically all those relationships are going to work out fine and dandy. They get back together. They kind of apologize about the ruckus that happened in the lobby of the hotel. And now they're ready to play for the finals. They're hitting. They're doing stuff. It's all going according to plan. That is until she falls down. She hurt her ankle.
Felt like I was there.
Yeah.
Wow.
She falls down.
What
She
a
hurt her ankle. He gets over to the sideline. Her dad comes down. It's like, do you think you could do it? She's like, what would mommy want? And he's like, don't worry about that. What do you want to do? Do you think you can do it? And she's like, I'm in it to win it. Second is only first loser. She watched the Lifetime movie.
That's right. Yeah.
And so she gets back out there, gets one more point, and they win. They celebrate by kissing for the entire world to see. I guess that's official now. And that, my friends, was Game, Set, Love.
We did it. Boy.
We did do it, everybody. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to break this Hallmark Channel Fall Into Love tennis movie down right after this.
On deck the Hallmark.
On deck the Hallmark.
On deck the Hallmark. Can you calm down over there, Brian? Are you making up for lost time? Are you falling? Are you
every snack imaginable?
Are you falling into the metaphorical rumble strip of life right now? And that's why you're
stuck in the rumbles. Yeah, that's the
It's
problem.
a snack rumble strip. I did see them live, and they
them?
were phenomenal.
So I've seen them live. You've heard about that band, but the term rumble strip did throw you for a
Yeah,
loop.
well, I thought it was a different thing.
You thought it was-
yeah.
It's like, I know that band, but what, you were
confusing.
driving with the rumble strip guys?
No, absolutely
confusing.
not. Yeah.
Let's break this movie down with 4 segments. Let's start with a hot take. Brian,
Yep.
you've been doing okay so far. I do
Thanks.
feel like you can turn up the temperature of the oven a little bit when it comes to these opinions. So let's see what you do today.
All right.
What'd you think about Game
If you
Set
say more
Love?
tennis, I'm gonna throw stuff at you. I'm gonna pick up stuff and throw it at you.
Oh, okay. Let me just scroll through my notes here. So this one, actually, this take, this is a little controversial because I've heard some rumblings, not
strips.
rumble strip, some rumbling, possibly from a rumble strip, around different places about feelings on this movie, and I kind of liked it. I kind of liked this movie. I really liked the beginning. I don't need it from you, Dan. Okay. I really like the beginning. I feel like
You liked the
I
beginning
did.
of
I
this
thought it was
movie.
funny. I thought they had some good fun times going on. I like the funnies. I mean, if you even attempt in a movie to be clever and
If you
witty,
just try to spread your worms and just
If you
try to
spread your
tell a
worms-
joke.
I'm in for it. Like I
So it
appreciate.
doesn't have to be funny. You just do attempt for it to be
right.
funny.
If you're trying a little bit, like I'm just like, yes, thank you for anything, you know. So I
All
like
right,
that. So
okay.
I felt like the banter worked between the cast of the main characters. I feel like at first it was pretty good. It did get a wee bit boring as we moved on throughout the movie, and the humor faded a little bit, and so I got lost a little. I feel like they were in a tough spot though because they had to show a romantic relationship developing. They had to show tennis tourney training. And so, unfortunately, they chose to do those things separately. They did not bond
Yeah.
while practicing
No.
for tennis,
No.
which I thought I
Would
was
have
going to
been
get.
too simple.
Yeah.
Would
I
have been
thought-
too straightforward.
So, Dan, you're going to love this. I did make a note. I wanted to see them bonding on the court, working on form, watching film, trying different shoes, critiquing each other. None of that really happened. Like, barely.
Trying different shoes.
You find the fit. I don't know. The equipment. Let's generalize. The right equipment. For doubles.
Trying different shoes
Yeah.
on.
Lacing up opposite ways, the different things you do to get an advantage. Like Bill Belichick would do. You find
his
every advantage.
the sweatshirts.
Yeah, ripping sleeves, all the stuff. So, but something about this story felt very familiar, and I think that's what kept me on the hook. And it was that somebody was picked out of obscurity and just put on a giant stage, sort of like the movie Rockstar. And that felt very familiar to me in this situation.
I know that you've brought up Rockstar before in our conversations. Is this the first time on the podcast, though? Or did you do that last week
I
on the
think I mentioned
podcast?
another time where something felt like Rockstar, and it just
You were determined.
just resonated with
You're
me.
determined to get that Mark Wahlberg
was last week.
star
That was last
vehicle
It just hits with me.
into the vernacular, and no one's thought about that movie in decades.
Which is everybody's problem. I feel like that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
kind of liked it. They did lose me. It got boring, but I like this more than Groundswell. I was more entertained than Groundswell.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
one hundo. Agree with that. I had a fun time with this movie. I will say, and I do mean this like in a positive way. So like, if this actor is listening, just know
boy.
that I actually mean this as a compliment. But I do think that the lead guy would be an excellent villain.
Yes.
Like he's like everything
yeah.
about him was
Yes.
and I do think like he's getting ready to be in something on Netflix where he is a villain. So like I'm intrigued to see him in that role. But I haven't seen either of these two leads before, so I'm always happy when we get to see new people, especially in leading roles, and so that's always exciting. And did they do tennis well? No. Did they do love well? No. But did I have fun, and did I laugh, and did I appreciate when the guy was going over the top with the thing and the photo shoot and different things like
Yes.
that? I had a good time with it. So overall, a good time for Bran. And you know what? Tennis is, if you're going to mess up one sport, that's the one who's like, yeah, who cares? Who cares? It's just tennis. It's not like it's important. So kudos to them for like picking the sport that, most people would be like, that sounds right. That sounds right. That sounds right. So good for them for that.
Tell you what, tennis fans are next in line behind notaries.
No, don't hear what I'm saying. No, first of all, how dare you offend the tennis fans like that and put them at that level? But I just, what I'm saying is not that tennis fans like don't matter. What I'm saying is that I think most people, including myself, watch tennis and I'm like, I think I'm getting it, but if you told me it was something completely different, I would also be like, yeah, that sounds about right. There's random points in a word called love, so don't make it so.
And the only thing worse than notaries are whales. Am I right? Like just the absolute worst. I mean, I can't think of anything worse.
Guy.
He's not, Trace.
That was my bad. I thought we were talking.
How is he still on the line? That was months ago.
I was told I was getting a new segment.
No. What would the segment be called?
Whales.
Whales for the whale guy?
Whale of a good time.
Gosh, at some point it's not my fault, whale guy. At some point it's not my fault. It's your fault for just staying on the line.
You could check your heart.
I could check my heart. That's good. Thanks,
Whale guy out.
Whale guy out.
No, he's not. He's not out.
You two should be embarrassed of yourselves and your hot takes. I will say this. The first scene of this movie gave me feels, which we'll talk about later. And every scene after that scene felt progressively worse than the previous one. This is dumpster fire, one of the worst of the year. And here's the weird thing is I played tennis in high school. I love tennis. The tennis is bad. The fact that they don't build a relationship together while playing tennis is also bad. But I think, wildly enough, the script
What do you mean? They went away for a whole weekend.
Exactly.
No tennis.
They didn't do it while they were playing tennis. This was Brian's whole point.
We don't know that, though. They could have been sneaking in some.
I don't know if you know this, Brian, but if it doesn't happen on screen in a Hallmark movie, we do know it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Assumed tennis practice?
Assumed tennis.
Assume that they're supposed to
No, they went away to get clear their heads from tennis so they could fall in love.
the weekend before.
Wildly, the script takes a lot of it does try to be funny a lot with these dry humor quips. And wildly enough, I think this falls on the fact that the leads are kind of miscast here. Neither one of them can portray a tennis player worth anything. I do think they're both talented, but that dude, he looks like he's going to murder somebody. I mean, he really does. He's looks like the understudy for every character from every Cruel Intentions movie. He just looks like. And then the girl I didn't buy her as a tennis player, and so they never really have any chemistry at all. And they're never feel like they're on the same page while they're talking tennis or on a tennis court because they never look comfortable in their own skin, much less trying to fall in love with anybody else. So the movie's kind of a disaster. I don't think it's necessarily written poorly. I don't think time was put into making the tennis look good. And I think the two leads never are comfortable with playing tennis and therefore aren't comfortable with falling in love. And so it's a mess. It's a mess of a movie, and it's one of the worst of the year. So absolutely not.
But imagine you don't know tennis.
Yeah.
I don't think it hurts you here to not know tennis. I don't think it helps you to know it. I think it's just done poorly.
I'm saying, does you knowing tennis hurt you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they're not even,
because I thought they did they filmed sport.
Well,
so congrats.
So 2 years ago, or maybe a year and a half ago, 2 for the Win with Trevor Donovan, where he's actually a skier.
Right.
I thought that movie for a Hallmark sports movie worked really well, and they actually build some tension at the end of that movie with the competition, which was very, very impressive. This movie, they even try to throw a Karate Kid at you with the injury before the last point. And it just is absurd. At one point, the scoreboard doesn't even make sense. It is
right, but that was bothersome to you because you know tennis.
But they explain it to you. They the judge goes 1 point left.
Sure, that's all I need to know.
Yeah, but
is that there's 1 point left.
It all felt very, very.
As
absurd.
Somebody who doesn't care for tennis, I was impressed that they actually did it.
Man, no, the tennis was bad in this.
Brian,
it was real bad.
You split the difference.
About tennis?
Yeah, well, about the tennis scenes.
Yeah.
He thought it was funny because they tried to be funny, Bram. So
no, but the
that's
actual.
all you need to know about Brian.
Well, the tennis, I liked the tennis. I wanted more tennis. What I wanted was not just more tennis shots. I wanted the match. I wanted to see both sides I wanted to see one volley, and we didn't see a single volley.
Because I don't know if you know this, the two actors can't play tennis.
Right.
So
and
they
that gave
can't
it away.
show you a wide shot of the volleys.
I know. So, unfortunately, I wish we got that. But you're right. I think that not knowing a lot about tennis
behooves you.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yes.
I think you can
I
get
think
by.
that was
Yeah.
What they were hoping for. Yeah.
I feel bad for people who knew a lot about tennis.
I
watching this movie.
feel, yeah, absolutely. But at least they're not notaries. It's time for all the feels. As part of the show, we talk about what in this movie gave us those feels. Brian, any feels for you in this one, buddy?
Well, I had as many I had as many fall feels in this movie as I did volleys, which we just mentioned, that we saw, which was none. Unfortunately, had to mention the fall. I had Dan, just cover your ears. I had How I Met Your Mother feels because they did some flashbacks.
Oh dear Lord!
I love How I Met Your Mother.
Stop.
Love it.
Get some help.
Greatest. But what
I love How I Met Your Mother
I know
too.
that. But in How I Met Your Mother,
you ought to be ashamed
I'm
of
not
yourself.
comparing this to How I Met Your Mother. I'm saying in How I Met Your Mother, they did a lot of flashing back to show you what happened, to bring you up to speed in the conversation in present time. And they did that with him yelling at the refs in this movie, shot back to him doing things in the past. And I like that. I like that there's a backstory that they're incorporating a little bit. So I like, the little flashback moments. I thought that added to the humor. I had Lake House feels. I'm not a beach bum. We talked about this before. I do like lake houses.
Yeah.
I like that whole thing. So I was feeling that. I thought that was great, being in the lake house. Unfortunately, it was, 5 days before a giant tournament, but I don't know how you relax.
Yeah. Well, no, that was gonna be mine. I want to know where that cabin, that little house was, because you got the fire going.
Dude.
You got the vibes, the feels. Was it fall outside? No. But,
No, not at all. Not even a little.
But here's what you don't know about Fall into Love is we are, as it says in the title there, we're falling into
So
it.
this is the early part of that fall. The early
This is
stages
when you
of the fall.
it is following South Carolina fall.
That's right.
Because there's
Okay.
been like a couple just like little spurts. If you look at it, it's like if you squint, you're like, is it fall?
Yeah.
And so I do feel like next month, September, is when things are really gonna.
I hear that the peak leaf season here this year, the peak day is October 28th.
Okay, so,
So
after
that's 6 days after Christmas movies start.
starts. But I don't know if you know this, Greenville, South Carolina, one of the top places to go to for fall
In the world,
In the
according
world.
to CNN.
Yeah.
And that's not Cousins Network nearly do well. That's not that. That's
the real one.
The
It's like
CNN.
what else was on that list?
Madrid, Spain.
Madrid, Spain.
Mexico City.
Were we the only
There was a couple
one in
more
North America
in the United States.
No, there were.
Out of 12, though, we were in the top 12. Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah, that Greenville.
We did.
Congratulations.
And just ask Andrew Walker and Antonio Cajon how they
yeah,
feel
they'll
about
tell
this
you.
city.
They
They'll
know.
tell
They'll
you.
tell you.
They know.
Yeah.
They know.
I did have feels in this movie.
I'll
Brian.
allow it.
I remember where I was when Venus Williams won Wimbledon, not just participated in tennis action, as you said during the synopsis. That
I didn't say
video
participated
she
in.
was watching. What did you say?
I said doing.
Doing some tennis action.
Yes.
That's better. I remember where
you.
I was. I was 16 years old watching Venus Williams win Wimbledon. Such a big moment. And to have this as this seminal moment in this young girl's life, and to see it and be like, you know what? Someone that looks like me won Wimbledon. I can go and do whatever I want. That was awesome. And I saw the scene and I was like, I'm all in on this movie. I'm going to love this movie. And then obviously it didn't work out that way. But the first scene was great. And you know what's wild is now that I'm saying that, like, I do see on paper how this could have been a decent movie. Like, whoever wrote the script, we start with this scene. There's some dry, quippy humor throughout it. It ends in like a classic sports movie fashion. I don't think the problem is with the writing. And
You
then
know
the
what
director
tied the
is-
whole thing together?
What's that?
She hurts her ankle. Venus comes out.
Yes.
You guys were talking to. They kept like teasing
Teasing
Venus.
Williams. They did. You're
I
right.
saw teasing Venus live. But
Wouldn't
I know.
recommend it.
I would. It
Wouldn't
was like it was
recommend it.
pretty cruel.
Yeah.
But they show the clip at the beginning, and you're like, oh, that's cool that they got the rights to that. And then like there are like things that shit's like by Venus Williams, like something like I don't know what it is, but they
11,
were
I
a
think.
sponsor of the event, and I kept waiting for her to come out and be like, you got this.
Sure
You
didn't.
no, that would.
Sure
But that would have really.
That would have been nice.
That would have been
Yeah.
awesome. She walks by like she's up next or something. Like, you got this, kid.
She's up next, yeah.
You know, like
She's
she gets back out
playing to
there.
that same
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
thing, yeah, for sure.
Fantastic. That would have been great.
Would have been great.
Didn't
well,
happen.
maybe next time. It's time for a quick break, and we'll be right back. We'll talk about the wait, what's, and the what the hallmarks here on Deck the Hallmark. You know like our mics don't mute like
What-
during
yeah, that's
that.
right.
Like
Yeah.
they stay on
I know.
actually.
You that was embarrassing. You had one of those cough on the upswing situations.
Snooty.
It's time for the Wait What. It's the part of the show we talk about what in this film
That's from
movie.
driving that big rig all day.
Yeah.
That's
Those
just-
fumes, man.
Big
rig fumes, dude.
Those
Those-
fumes on the big rig will get you.
That catalytic converter is
Oh,
gone.
I
And
tell
you,
you
the
what.
thing about you and your big rig is every time a kid comes by with a honk thing, you will honk.
there's nothing you can
every
do.
time.
As hard as I can.
That's right. You push it
That's
on
right.
the
You
wheel.
got to make that kid's dreams come true.
You do.
On
That's
the
right.
open
He'll
road.
never hear it if you don't do it.
Yeah.
That's right. Brian?
Yeah.
Wait, what's?
Yep.
Yes, I have.
So yes, I do. Check. So why was Taylor so immediately invested in coaching them? She like barely showed any reluctance
At all.
It was just like, you should coach us. No. Go get your construction boots. We're going for a hike. Like
That's right.
immediately
Yep.
shifted
Yep.
into okay.
Didn't
we're
take
doing-
long.
Yeah. Which I was just like, okay. So it was a little suspicious when her friend got hurt and she's taking them all these adventures to coach them up. The silent auction that they went to, was this a by appointment only? There were like
Dude.
4.5 people showing up at a time. And,
Well, what's wild is there's no one there, and then they comment on how big a crowd it is.
yes.
And then she says it's because someone let slip that you two were going to be here. What is this, a fundraiser? We're not trying to make money, are
Right.
we? Like, wouldn't you want as many people there as possible?
Yeah, let it slip.
Yeah,
Somebody
like
sneaked
you
it.
should be advertising that, you would think.
Yeah, so that was a little. I felt bad for them.
Yeah.
Unless the bigger, maybe it comes in waves. Like later on, the
Yeah.
late crowd would show
it's
up.
a late wave.
And then, they went. They took a lot of breaks leading up to training.
So
to this
many
tournament.
breaks.
And so that was just a big one overall. Was I didn't know you should take a weekend off before a tournament. I didn't know you should, the night after your first match, go out to a cocktail mixer.
Yeah.
And that's how you prepare
Breaks
for the
are
next
important.
day.
Breaks
Breaks are important.
And also, I don't know if you know this, but it's never too late to hydrate. Yes, it is. She says it's never too late to hydrate.
There comes a time where
Yes.
you will die
Yeah.
of thirst, and that would be too late to hydrate.
at that point, it's probably too
It would
late
be
to
too late to hydrate.
We used to say at summer camp, you got to pre-hydrate before you dehydrate.
Ooh,
that
I
is
see what
good.
you did there. Were you a counselor, or was that what you were saying as a kid?
No, as a counselor.
Okay,
yeah,
I was
as
about to say, that'd
as
be
as an employee. I mean, I'm sure we told children as
Make a
well. You
great
got to,
shirt.
yeah, that's
You got
exactly right.
to you got to pre-hydrate.
I don't know
before
if how
you
it sells for our people.
We
but
should just sign off with that instead of Merry Christmas, now, just so people know. We don't want them to not know.
we don't want them
you
to
know?
not know. That's exactly right.
Until next time, you got to
Prehydrate
pre-hydrate
before you dehydrate. I have a couple. One, I love that at this press conference, there's one lady who gets to ask all the questions.
Every question, yeah,
Even
everybody
though
else is-
everybody in between is like, they still go, oh, she has more? That's actually something that journalists love, is when one person just keeps asking questions and gets called on. That's what kind of their favorite thing in the whole world, from what I gather. I love that they went to a restaurant that is called Eat. That's the name of the restaurant. It's just Eat. Eats. I absolutely loved that while she was coaching him early on in the first training session, she's like, we're learning how to serve. We're learning how to serve. Kids are here. You just take a seat. Well, professional tennis player who I'm supposed to be training. I got to go teach these children. Just sit here until I'm done with however long this class is
Yes.
for children.
I do
You
wanna be
just sit
clear.
here in the rain. It's
Yes.
going to be fun.
She's coaching a professional tennis player on the side. Her full-time job
Yes.
is she's the kids' tennis club pro.
Right.
And then on the side in her spare time, she's given a tennis pro some
I
lessons.
think that's one of those things where you go, hey, Daddy-o, could
Yeah,
you maybe take
yes.
these classes with the kids
This is
while
a full-time gig.
I'm teaching this professional tennis
Yeah,
player
that's right.
who's prone to anger.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Get them
Yeah,
away
yeah.
from the kids real quick.
And my favorite part of this whole movie was the we like tennis signs in the
Oh, I
crowd.
mean-
like just we go tennis. What was the one that you
Tennis
really?
is my jam.
Tennis is my
Somebody
jam.
has a sign that just says tennis is my jam.
Like it's like me going to an NBA game and just being like,
I love basketball.
I love the National Basketball Association. I love this game. I love love
Rob
this.
Lowe
It's like when Rob Lowe with the NFL logo
NFL.
shirt. It's not really a thing that most people do, but I love that there were multiple people in this crowd at this little tennis event that just say, you know what doesn't get enough love at tennis? Just the sport
Just
itself.
tennis in general, yeah.
Everyone's always about the individual, but what about the game itself? How do you think the game itself is feeling about not getting any love?
I do love that extra. As soon as he was given that sign, he knew it. He was like, "Oh well, that's it. I'm gonna be on TV, and this is the dumbest sign of all time."
Tennis is my jam.
I guess tennis is my jam. It's my look. There's nothing I can do about that. Tennis,
Dan was watching. He was hoping someone's last name was like Jimiana Watts or something like that. That would like,
Jamanowski or something?
yeah, tennis is my jam. Like it's a play on the
yeah.
name
I
or
was like,
something.
yeah, somebody's name. Nope. He was like, "What should I write here?"
I hope that guy's family every year for Christmas gives him a framed picture of that scene.
Tennis is
Him
my
holding
jam.
Tennis is my jam.
He didn't say I love tennis.
No.
He said tennis is my jam.
Hey, son, are you ready to go to the tennis match? Hold on. I'm finishing my sign for tennis.
You know, the director was like, "We need some people with signs in the crowd. You know, like tennis is my jam or something." And then he actually sees it. He's like, "I didn't mean exactly that. Like, I thought you were gonna like do something here. Tennis is my jam." And that guy got a close up. How bad were the other signs? Tennis is okay.
I woke up for tennis.
Tennis is my third favorite sport.
Tennis saved my life.
Oh man,
I love
Bad.
tennis. Tennis is great. Dan?
Yeah. I would say that our leading lady gets at least 90% of the credit for injuring his doubles partner.
Oh,
what with the fact that she takes them mountain racing and all. Like, she's like, let's go for a hike. Oh, go race. And then she's running through the woods. That's on her in the middle of that time. Not only do they take a lot of breaks for training for a tournament, but during the tournament, there are a lot of days off in between matches. Like, typically you play a day, you get a day off, you play a day. That's how tennis matches work. Does tennis tournaments work? They play and then they don't play for like 4 days in a row. That is, man, they are, and not only that, but I do want to be clear that the last time a mixed doubles match was this important in tennis was never. ever has anyone cared about mixed doubles. And to be fair, the first match, there's no one there. Like, it's everyone who's watching, I think, is supposed to think it's a big deal, whereas everyone in the movie knows that it's not a big deal at all by what we see. There were literally more people in the media room than there were at the first tennis match. That's not possible. They clearly didn't have the extras they needed. Not a wait what from a standpoint of movie making as much as it's for Hallmark. They let 2 people share an entire house for a weekend without being married. That's a big deal in this world. I can't believe they did it. No one else was there as this weird chaperone. They just did it. That was very impressive. At one point, he asked her what her favorite food is, and she says breakfast. And he says it's not a food, and she says agree to disagree. What? No. That is not, that's not up for debate. Breakfast is not a food. You never answered.
Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree, apparently. Yeah. And then lastly, he always talks about his parents were like never there. And he's just always like, my parents were never there. And I just thought if I played harder. Well, she invites his parents in, which she 100% shouldn't have done. And then his parents are there. And we find out that he spent his entire childhood where he got to go to all these matches. His parents never showed up. And his dad picked up a second job that he hid from him. And he never figured it out. His entire childhood, teenage, which is unreal. And that's a wait what. But the bigger one is that, okay, now I see why dad couldn't go to the matches. But what's mom's excuse? You mean to tell me this mom who wasn't working a second job never made a single tennis match? Not one? And just was like, well, I couldn't. Your dad was working a second job. That's bad parenting. It's not great.
Maybe she doesn't. Maybe they only had one call. I don't know how he's getting to
Yeah.
it. Maybe
she dropped him off. Was like, can't stay. Got to go home and not watch tennis.
Did he keep him playing tennis a secret from his mom? And it's just a big
No, they knew
web of
because he
secrets?
got the extra job to pay for the tennis stuff. It was a mess.
Yeah.
maybe the mom just like didn't understand that what tennis was.
Right.
Like maybe she thought that it was like a special alone time activity.
Yeah.
Special alone time
right.
activity.
That sounds about right.
I don't know. I'm trying to help you
You're
here.
doing your
Bob.
best. You're doing your best.
It's
There
time
is
for
one what the Hallmark, and if we don't all have it, I'm going to be upset.
it's time for what the Hallmark. Brian?
Yep. Mine has something to do with prehydrating, and no, I'm just kidding. So my big thing walking away was if you own a restaurant, second generation, your restaurant's not doing great, it's doing so badly that you need a second job to try to help out your family, and somebody tells you have a world-class athlete on your hands, liquidate those assets.
Yeah.
Immediately and ride that gravy train to retirement.
Yes. Yeah,
Immediately. Like,
yeah.
he's goofing around with jobs and sneaking around and just barely getting by when he's got this golden ticket sitting right there. So
This guy.
I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, come on. Sell your house. Do whatever you got to do. Buy this kid a racket and get on tour.
Being a bad present parent is at least you're present.
So that was a big one. I'm just scratching my head over.
No, I'm just very fascinated at what the big one is, Dan.
It's a character that none of us have mentioned yet. It's Shane Sanders.
Oh, right.
The guy that hosts Sports Wow, I believe, but is also the husband of the doubles partner and somehow hosts a ginormous, like nationally televised sports center, but is at every personal event in Georgia all the time. That guy?
Yeah.
That is the hallmark of the year.
Fair. That's fair.
Yep.
In relation to that, something that I didn't know that you pointed out, Dan, was that our guy Shane commentates on this tennis match with an actual tennis player.
Yes.
What's her name?
Amy something. Hold on one second.
Okay. This is my point, though. Why? Why did they bring in a semi-well-known tennis player? So, like, it's like either you're doing this movie.
I mean, she's won a few like major championships way back in the day.
I didn't recognize her, didn't know her name, and I know the big names.
That's right.
So she's like if you follow tennis, you would know her, right?
If you followed tennis and you were over 45 or 50, you would know her.
Okay. So I just found it to be interesting. Like, that was a thing where they were like, what if we brought in a...
Can we get Venus? No. Martina? No. Serena? No. Jennifer Capriati? No. And there's like 50 other names on the list, and then it's like, what about her?
It seems like a very specific, like, we've already talked about how it behooves you not to know tennis.
Tracy Austin.
To watch this movie.
Tracy Austin is
It
right.
behooves you because if you do know tennis, you'll be watching the tennis match, and you'll be like, banging your head against a wall. But in this case, we're like, let's just, do a quick nod to the people that do.
Yeah.
A very interesting choice. I just want to know how it came up.
They've been doing this in the last few. The fashion, they had
Yeah.
real models.
Yeah.
The culinary one, the groundswell, they had real judges. So they've
That's
been kind of
right.
bringing in real people from the real world into these
Fascinating.
movies. It is fascinating.
It's fascinating. Was she, Ernie wants to know, was she the tennis consultant on the movie? That's possible. That's possible.
Probably.
Yeah, I just want to know how that relationship happened.
And
How
I-
did she get get this gig?
Yeah. I just think that with a little bit more time and effort, the movie could have been made into something that would have been decent. I just think no one
I
else
think
feels
it
comfortable with
already
tennis.
did it.
Everyone that's on screen
We're
feels
there.
like you feel about tennis, and it shows.
That's right.
Very relatable.
That's exactly right. We did, everybody. Congratulations.
Yay.
Now, we do not have a double decker of the week this week, but we are working on that plan. It's going to be happening.
We don't have one this week.
We don't have one this week.
That's right. You said we do have one this week.
I don't know if I did. Either way.
Did he say we
I
do?
think you did.
We
Okay.
do
We
have a double decker.
I'm
of the
sorry
week
that
this
I
week.
got
We
people's
don't.
hopes up. I'm
but
sorry
we're
that
going to have it.
We're going to have it.
Till the week after Labor Day,
We
and
got
we will have it sorted, and Panda will be here doing double deckers.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So
Yes.
for those of you that are already missing Panda, just know that you'll still get that little weekly burst of Panda through the double decker of the week. I did get a big kick out of the fact that we said Panda was leaving on Monday. He was back by Wednesday. for
Wednesday,
Lifetime
there it
Report.
is. Didn't take
He was
long,
back.
gang.
He was back. So that is coming, but we're not even going to touch that. It's sacred ground. We won't touch it, knowing that he's coming. So
Of course.
we can look forward to that. We will be back tomorrow with the unthinkably good things.
Yes.
And then Friday, Brian's going to be back as well
With a
the,
preview
episode.
Brian. Big week.
Cream
And
initiation.
of course, Thursday,
week.
Win Calls the Heart. Those have been a big hit with the Win Calls the Heart community. So
They
those will
love
be coming back for those. Big week. Until then, maybe the first to wish you a...
Rehydrate before you dehydrate.
Deck the Hallmark is the That Sounds Fun podcast. It's produced by Tracy Noah's name. It's recorded live in, that Greenville, South Carolina. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com.